It's a Tuesday afternoon. Good afternoon and welcome to the Marketplace. This is where we analyze the markets, talk about trends and investments, and of course, how global developments are impacting business activities right here in Ghana. My name is Emmanuel Apuaji Wiafe, and coming up in this afternoon's edition, recent performance of the Ghana cedi forces some firms in the import sector to withhold a chunk of their cash in dollars. Also in the bulletin, customers of microfinance company DKM Diamond are to start receiving their deposits from next month. This follows completion of works by the firm appointed by the Registrar General Department, PwC, to review assets of DKM that can be sold to remit affected customers of the company. And businesses respond to current decision by the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank to maintain the policy rate at 26%. These and others coming your way shortly. Meantime, you can get interactive with us by tweeting at Joy Business. GH is our handle. And on Facebook, we are on Joy Business. For more business news, don't forget to log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Now to our very first story. The recent performance of the Ghana cedi has forced a lot of firms, especially those in the import sector, to withhold a chunk of their cash in dollars. It is to prevent a situation where they are compelled to look for dollars anytime the local currency depreciates. The development has also resulted in some firms locking most of their funds for operations in dollar assets. So with predictions that the cedi will be stabilizing in the coming months, how should businesses strategize? Charles Mensah is a financial consultant.
Typically, you are looking at forex management. So if it is that you have a lot of suppliers' credit to deal with at a particular time, and with this influx of dollars coming into play, that means there will be a bit of stability. If it is that you would be exposed to your suppliers and the stability, then the chances are that it will not affect you too much, because once you have your cedis, you will be able to meet your suppliers' amount. Posture is that you try and keep things balanced. So don't do long-term discussion of your supplier's credit or your customer days, the credit. Just look at the balancing. So be looking at 14 to 30 days around, so that you have a hold on, if anything happens, you can balance yourself out. But when it is that you have a long-term, 3 months, 90-day credit, 45-day, 60-day credit, sometimes we misapply the initial cedis that will come into me. Unless that we have a system with the banks where you can buy ahead, so you protect against any fluctuation of the currency.
And the governor of the central bank, Dr. Abdul Nasiru Isahaku, is even predicting that the cedi could even appreciate against the dollar over inflows from Eurobond cocoa syndication loan and others from donors. Analysts say about $3 to $4 billion could hit the Bank of Ghana's account in the next 3 months. Now, it's about time government focused more on growing the economy if it is to effectively bring the rising public debt under control. That's the advice from economist Professor Godfred Bokpin. The country's total debt has now hit 110 billion Ghana cedis, representing about 66% of GDP. Meanwhile, government has downplayed suggestions linking this to increased borrowings. Rather, maintaining the debt levels will reduce by the end of this year. Professor Bokpin, however, says government's debt management strategy would not yield the desired results until it prioritizes economic growth.
We have to be able to keep our debt level within a certain acceptable level and effectively grow our economy. The most effective way of managing your debt is to grow your economy. If you have the best strategy and it doesn't translate to growing the economy in real terms, we don't have any strategy at all. Because if the economy is not expanding, you are not generating cash flow, your debt level is increasing, it comes with increasing costs, then you are not going to do that much. You only just have to generate enough money to service your debt and pay wages and salaries. Then you have very little to actually do capital spending. Once you allocate very little to capital projects or capital spending, especially relative to debt servicing, you are not preparing for the future. You are unable to maintain your assets. You can't replace your assets when they are due for replacement, because you wouldn't have made effective provision towards that. And then again, you are unable to close the huge infrastructure deficit that is actually inhibiting the efficiency of doing business in this economy.
Now, customers of microfinance company DKM Diamond are to start receiving their deposits from next month. It follows the completion of works by the firm appointed by the Registrar General's Department, PwC, to review the assets of DKM that can be sold out to remit affected customers of the company. In line with this, the Registrar General's Department is beginning the process of engaging customers on how this particular event will be done. Now, the meeting will first start at the Sunyani Coronation Park in the Brong-Ahafo region. And Jemima Ware is acting Registrar General.
The payments would definitely start from the beginning of the early part of October. Yes, they would.
What measures have you put in place to ensure that indeed the rightful, let me use the word, depositors get their funds?
That is why I kept on saying our consultants are proving the claims. So you're not going to get a fraudster getting there to go and get monies that are not due there. You understand? We have claims that have been put in. We are cross-checking with the claims on the service. So if your name is not in there, or if isn't a document that actually validates that you are the rightful person, you won't get your claim. Because when they are coming there, they'll have to come with their ID card. So you don't get fraudsters coming and take what they shouldn't really be taking.
How much have you been able to get right now from the assets that you have looked at from DKM?
I don't think I can tell you that one, because liquidation is an ongoing process. We've been able to realize some assets, but I can't give you the exact figure.
What about
how much we've realized?
What about the customers who have also come forward to say that the company owes us this amount?
So that is the whole process of liquidation. All those people are creditors. You have secured creditors, you have unsecured creditors. So that's why we put out a notice, bring in any claims that you have against DKM. So that whole process, we have a list of people who put in claims. If they haven't put in claims yet, we have an opportunity for you when we go to the various creditor meetings all over the country, and you know for a fact that you're a creditor of DKM, you can come over there and make your case as well.
All right, so we're trying to link up with our correspondent in Sunyani to bring us up to speed with what these customers are currently saying or responding to this particular development or event. But meanwhile, official of PricewaterhouseCoopers has said, Eric Nipa has said, they have so far validated 93,000 claims, which run into 540 million cedis, contrary to what the Bank of Ghana got, which was 63,000 claims running into 113 million cedis. He also said his outfit cannot confirm the exact amount of money to be paid to the affected customers, but assures them that an expected list next week Friday, will confirm other details, including the validated names, amount to be paid, and so on. He further stated that they are talking to ADB Bank, GCB Bank, and Fidelity Bank to facilitate the payment. Also live on the marketplace. Now, moving on, the Minister of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare, has indicated industry players, including hoteliers, who fail to meet professional standards may soon face sanctions. The lack of skilled personnel remains one of the challenges hampering growth in the tourism sector. The ministry, in this light, yesterday launched an initiative to train players across the country with over 200,000 Ghana cedis. Madam Ofosu-Adjare says this is geared towards making tourism the #1 foreign exchange earner for the country. Darrell Kwao has more.
Tourism's contribution to national revenue generation has increased by 3.5% over the last few years and represented 7.8% of the country's GDP in 2014. It continues to be the fourth highest foreign exchange earner after gold, cocoa and oil, and could improve significantly if extra efforts are made to harness the numerous tourism potential that abound in many places in the country. The latest report by online hotel booking portal Trivago, however, identified the lack of skilled personnel in various positions as having a negative impact on the growth of the industry. Speaking to Joy Business at the launch of a nationwide training program for personnel in the hospitality sector, Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare, emphasized the importance of professionalism in beating competition posed by other countries.
The competition is stiff. Everybody wants a very, 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 very good tourism destination. It only happens when we have professionals serving at our facilities. That is how come the ministry, through Tourism Development Fund, has sponsored this program to ensure that the private sector do well. We all know that tourism is public sector led, private sector driven. So as the public sector, we are ready to lead it so that the private sector can drive it. We are doing this for the private sector because we know that it is only the private sector that can help tourism to thrive. So we'll continue to give off these good training to help them in their businesses, to help tourism to be sustained. As we speak right now, tourism is the 4th highest foreign exchange earner, and we know that with the good people we have in Ghana, with the kind of facilities that we have, if you're able to do very good training, we'll move from being 4th to 3rd, 2nd, or 1st, which is the ultimate, and we know that it is doable.
The 10-week training will focus on areas such as accommodation, catering, customer care, housekeeping, and front office operations.
Government is being challenged to, as soon as possible, ratify the World Trade Organization, WTO's Trade Facilitation Agreement to enable the country to take advantage of its associated economic benefits. The agreement seeks to make cross-border trade easier, quicker, and less costly for businesses. Speaking with Joy Business at a forum on the agreement, Vice President of Global Alliance for Trade Facilitation and also the head of Customs and Trade Facilitation at the International Chamber of Commerce, ICC Ghana, Dunia Hamami, outlined the economic benefits the agreement holds for Ghana.
The TFA, the Trade Facilitation Agreement, offers an opportunity to really get all the stakeholders on board for tangible results that will really impact business environment on a daily basis. So it's not just customs, it's not just the Ministry of Trade, it's not just the Ministry of Finance, it's really to bring all these different actors, health ministries and agencies, security ones, and business together to really think like what are the priorities that we have right now and how can we really benefit from what the TFA has to offer. And I think a lot of great work has already been done in Ghana. And also in the ECOWAS region, but the reality is that it's still 3 times more costly to actually trade internationally interregionally within the ECOWAS region, rather than actually to engage in trade externally. So of course that would need to change also for enhanced regional integration.
And also, I think I heard you speak about the opportunities in respect of job creation.
Yes, so if you look at it internationally, the TFA can actually generate around 20 million jobs, and the majority, the lion's share, will be in developing countries, around 18 million. It will actually have a bigger impact than the removal of all trade tariffs, which is, of course, significantly. So it will generate jobs, economic prosperity, it will make it easier for business, and also consumers will reap the benefits because goods will become cheaper.
On his part, Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, George Blankson, also noted ratifying the agreement would positively impact revenue mobilization.
The Trade Facilitation Agreement of the WTO is the first multilateral accord that has been established by the WTO to ensure facilitation of trade being given the necessary fillip that it requires to make it a permanent part of the international trading system. And a number of countries, up to close to 90 countries, have already ratified that agreement. Ghana is yet to do it. The essence of the forum here in Ghana is to ensure that we bring awareness to this, because the Trade Facilitation Agreement has a provision that requires that the developed countries lower their tariffs on a number of products to render their markets more accessible to developing countries. There's also a provision that says that the quotas that they have on agriculture imports from developing countries such as Ghana should also be abolished, and therefore open their markets to ready access by countries such as Ghana. Finally, it also provides for a reduction and eventual abolition of the red tape that exists for most customs administrations and which have the impact of impeding trade to a large extent.
That was George Blankson, the GRA boss. Now, government continues to rely heavily on loans sourced from both local and international sources to finance development projects. Though not necessarily a bad idea, there are those who believe the loans may probably not be necessary if all eligible Ghanaians are made to fulfill their tax obligations. In the following report, Joy News' Latif Idris posts the spotlight on the operations of small-scale phone vendors at the Tiptoe Lane at Circle here in Accra. He believes could be ready or a ready source for taxable incomes, but currently untapped.
Out of a tax-paying population of about 6 million, less than 1,500,000 are paying taxes, with the rest enjoying tax holiday at the expense of the state. A large chunk of those who do not fulfill their tax obligation are in the informal sector. The issue of documentation of operations is often ignored or deliberately hidden to avoid payment of tax. The situation makes it almost impossible to trace these businesses and retrieve the monies in the form of tax. The phone vendors in the Tiptoe Lane enclave are a typical example. As these vendors reveal, so much money exchange hands here on a daily basis. But because operations here are not documented, profits go untaxed, robbing the state of the much-needed funds.
At least as a business, you can make profit of maybe somehow 100 Ghana or sometimes 150 Ghana.
Over 1,000. With the more amount, with the capital, we can make 1,000. But the profit, we don't have a uniform because it can come low, high, and the average, because once we are selling, we are buying things, so you see the actual profit you get.
I can actually say the first maybe a week you can make a susu to get maybe 1 million.
Sadly though, loopholes in the system have denied government colossal revenue.
We are not losing, but the government is losing. Sometimes I ask myself, consider the number of people selling on the roadside, especially we are about almost 2,000 people on the roadside. We are just selling, getting our money, putting our money in our pocket without paying any tax. Me as a Ghanaian, though I get the money, but some way I'm neglecting my responsibilities because I have to pay tax for the government to get the money to do the infrastructure, to build schools, to do a whole lot.
But you can't force the government to come and take the tax from you.
We can't force the government to come and take tax from us, but we are willing to pay. I'm pleading with the government to bring his attention here. There is a money here. People are making money without paying tax, and they are just pocketing the money.
So for the numerous vendors here, they are evading tax as government looks on. With a daily tax of 2 Ghana cedis, the Ghana Revenue Authority could generate not less than 720,000 Ghana cedis monthly from this enclave. Adding up, the GRA can rake in up to 8,640,000 cedis annually from this enclave to finance projects in health, road, and the educational sector. Director of tax firm Ali Nachie and Associate Abdullah Ali Nachie blames the inefficiency in the tax regime on wrong categorization of traders by the Revenue Authority.
We have the light taxpayer office, the medium taxpayer office, and the small taxpayer office. Now, the idea was to ensure that they have an office with officers that can attend to the needs of the different categories of taxpayers. But invariably, I believe this structure has not been well rolled out. Tiptoe Lane, they are right close to the large taxpayer office, which is the one in VAT House. Now, if that large taxpayer office is to attend to taxpayers of 5 million and above, and with a bird's eye view, somebody think those in Tiptoe Lane are not in that category, which officer will go looking for them?
Ali Nachie proposes hands-on approach and fully automated system across the country to fix the anomalies in the tax system.
Would you be that ignorant to say that I've earned income and I don't owe anybody anything? At least AMA will come around in terms of the space, the floor space you are occupying. And that is, for me, is the challenge the informal sector face, because they see AMA come to them for levies and fees, and they think that is tax.
If the proposal from the tax expert is heeded to, perhaps we can cut down to the unintended tax holiday enjoyed by businesses in the non-formal sector. Latif Idris, Joy News, Accra.
All right, so another renewed call for the Ghana Revenue Authority to do all it can to rope in industry players, especially of the informal sector, to also pay tax. This is the Marketplace. We're taking a short break here. We'll be right back. Thank you very much for staying. Welcome back to the Marketplace. Now, some 80,000 individuals claiming to have lost 36 million Ghana cedis in deposits to 7 financial network companies in the Volta region are appealing to President Mahama to intervene in their situation. The clients lament they were ignorant about the operations of the companies and were lured with lucrative packages. The clients in the following report say they expect the president to use his influence and high office to help assist them retrieve their monies.
These financial network companies started operations in the region in 2014, advertising for individuals to invest a minimum of 450 Ghana cedis, introduce 10 people and qualify for between 800 and 1,000% returns within 3 to 6 months. This lucrative package convinced many people to invest with these financial network companies. Though some investors were lucky enough to reap some benefits, majority had their monies locked up after the companies were shut down in 2015 by the Financial Intelligence Center of Bank of Ghana, since they were not duly registered. The victims, who have not received any response from governments after their demonstration at Ho in July this year, organized a press conference over the weekend to further press home their demand. Speaking on behalf of the victims in Ho, Hajida Richard explained that though about 19,000 investors received their profits, about 36 million Ghana cedis from 80,000 others are still locked up with these network companies.
His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the first gentleman of the land, our father, we are appealing to you to use your office to bring these network companies earlier mentioned to pay our bonuses due us. Since the banks are after us for their monies and interest. It is good to note that about 80,000 people are victims of these network companies, of which each paid 450 Ghana cedis, which amounts to 36 million Ghana cedis, which in the old currency is getting, or is about 36 trillion cedis. We still count on your usual cooperation and understanding.
A victim, Helen Ahiabe, narrated her ordeal in tears, explaining how she invested her business capital of 20,000 Ghana cedis.
President Mahama, please help us recoup our monies. I invested my business capital of 20,000 Ghana cedi with this network companies. Because of this, my business has collapsed. My shop is empty. President Mahama, please help us. We beg you in the name of God. Help us. We have been swindled of our hard-earned money. Some people have died out of this. If you don't help us, poverty will kill us. We are counting on you.
This visually impaired man, Godfred Seshi, said he has been subjected to continuous humiliation from the 22 people he introduced.
Despite my condition, I was able to introduce 22 individuals of which all of them invested 450 Ghana cedis. If not for the mercy of God, I would have been dead by now. Most of the people I introduced have threatened to take my life. My life is currently at stake. I have no idea what will happen to me tomorrow. Please, Mr. President, help me out of this situation. Help us recoup our monies. I am blind, and I can't do anything to raise about 6,000 Ghana cedis to pay these individuals.
And on that appeal, we wrap up this afternoon's edition of The Marketplace. We'll certainly bring to you reactions of businesses to the maintaining of the policy rate by the central bank at 5 o'clock on Business Live. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji Riafi. You can get interactive with us by tweeting at Joy Business GH, and on Facebook we are on Joy Business. For more business news, log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Good afternoon.